I'm seeing portals light out on my timeline. So what better to do than have an interview with Gomez, the CEO of Portals, so he can let us know all the alpha about portals, which I'm very, very excited for. Gomez, how are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me, Seb.
Pleasure. Well, we've got a whole lot of questions. People really want to know, what's been going on with Portals, which is an OG Solana project, and you entered into the hackathon back in 2021. But I guess to start off with, let's add a little bit of a visual element as you don't have your camera with you today. So let me just bring this up here. And then please just introduce yourself, who you are, when you started, when Portals started, etc.
Cool. So yeah, we started after we had been building out some previous software gaming companies. We were starting about 2015. Those companies, after they were automated, exited, we had some time on our hands. This is the team that kind of started those companies to really think about what was next. And right away there was an idea for taking something like just the spark of an idea was, if an awesome company like Apple or Nintendo were going to create the metaverse, which was something that was like buzzy at the time, or there was an undercurrent of buzz in like 2020 about the metaverse. But the thing that we saw that was cool was like an accessible metaverse, and maybe even products that weren't even necessarily you wouldn't consider them a metaverse, definitely. So like Animal Crossing was something that came out and was like really big during COVID, and it had these elements of a metaverse actually, where it was people can create things really easily and then visit other people's worlds, and it was just super, super dead simple. And that was kind of cool. It was really popular. We've been in gaming since we were kids, and that's how we got into engineering and kind of followed that interest through our careers. And essentially it was like, if we were going to build something from scratch, a game studio, and just build something really big and awesome, and something that we were excited to kind of continue working on forever, what would that be? So that was like the early spark of the idea. We had been also working with WebGL and browser-based technologies for a while, and we thought that would be really interesting if there was something that was, with one click, you could jump into this rich 3D world in your browser, and you could send a link to somebody, and anybody could just jump in 1 second. So that was the early spark of an idea. We put that idea back on the shelf for a little while because it was mostly something where we thought we would need a lot of funding, and we had previously built companies that were bootstrapped, and we got them to profitability pretty quickly. But it was always kind of, these businesses that had unit economics in mind. We hadn't raised money before, venture capital before. So that idea being quite ambitious, we put it back on the shelf. But after about a year, couldn't stop thinking about it, was obsessed with the idea still. This is now early 2021. We said, let's start self-funding this with a small team and start building that concept. Let's build a prototype to show that this could be really cool. We were still extremely excited about it. We had all these ideas about early games and things that you could do in the browser that would be really fun. There were a few different alternative routes to going to market, but we ultimately were always most excited about gaming and creating something that made it extremely easy for anybody, non-coders, to create games, worlds, experiences without needing to know how to code. So as things went on, we saw that there was starting to be more and more buzz about the metaverse, particularly in the crypto space. And we had been following crypto since pretty early on. Was a Bitcoin buyer in 2013. Unfortunately, was also a Bitcoin seller in 2013. But we were starting to see in the industry overall, 2020, 2021, we were starting to get into DeFi summer in 2020. A lot of our friends in the industry were starting to get into crypto because there were starting to be really interesting elements of crypto in terms of interoperability. We were moving out of the phase of, Bitcoin is the new gold and whatever the philosophy around Bitcoin was, which was interesting, but from an engineering perspective, it got a lot more interesting, to us around 2020, um, with smart contracts and everything else. So yeah, we saw the buzz starting to build in that industry, and we said, this is really cool. It was a really exciting time to be an engineer, to be in that world as we started to, look into what was being built, and it was just like a very extremely new, exciting paradigm shift in the world of just software and the types of software that was being built and the craziness of what crypto was on Twitter. And it's like, this is really fun and interesting compared to anything we've seen recently in the world of software and, B2B SaaS and that type of thing. That was really interesting to us. The fact that crypto was very open-minded and libertarian, and kind of just like this really cool culture was forming that was really interesting to us. That was the spark that, showed that there might have been a window to launching something in the crypto space and taking what we had started building and launching it in the world of crypto. And we had been following Solana since also early 2021. Again, friends in the industry that were some of the prominent folks working on hardcore Ethereum infrastructure started getting into Solana. So it looked like, okay, that's an interesting, it looks like the talented, serious people in the industry are taking Solana seriously as a contender and as a place that looks really interesting. And then when we looked into Solana and we saw right away as primarily product people, we saw that user experience was 10 times better already, with the wallet user experience with Phantom. And we thought, okay, this is cool. But that was about it. We didn't have deep crypto root people on our team. We had been building the product from the perspective of, we want to make something that's just really, really great. Doesn't matter if you're a crypto native or not. We want this to reach mass market. And the crypto element was something that was, exciting for those reasons that I pointed out. And then it makes a lot of sense in the terms of a metaverse with being able to do interoperability and everything else. Having community ownership and the ability for people in the crypto space to have ownership and build their own things. It made a lot of sense on a few different planes. So that was it. We were actually thinking about reaching out to Solana or Metaplex for a grant. We saw that there were grants out there. It's like, maybe we could, maybe there would be some interest in this. We're seeing that there's buzz in the metaverse overall. You had like Decentraland, which a lot of people were buzzing about. We didn't think it was particularly impressive, but there was buzz around the metaverse in the crypto space for sure in 2021. Right as we were thinking about reaching out for a grant or something like that, we announced the hackathon and we said, let's integrate Solana and let's do this hackathon. That went really well. We ended up winning. It was second place on the gaming track. It was very early days for Solana, and but it was, I think there was enough. You go back to that original hackathon submission video, there's a lot of those core components that we were excited about. It was super prototype, super early, but we had already been building for the last, 7 months or so. And it was really the Solana integration that was a part of that hackathon. And we laid out what we thought would be, the most interesting version of a metaverse to exist on Solana. And it did have these unique components. Yeah, it was at the time for sure, like very, very interesting in the early Solana days. A lot of people might have seen how early it was and written it off after, the metaverse bubble and hype bubble kind of exploded. But we've always known that just taking a very accessible, easy to build platform where anybody can create games and you make them as accessible as then running in the browser, the fact that, let's say a Twitch streamer is playing a game that's built in portals and they have an audience of 10,000 people, all those people can jump in at once. So even though it takes a long time to build game tech, we always knew there was a huge market opportunity for something like that. So whether it's for a Web 2 or Web 3 audience, we've always never lost sight of that. So Yeah, it was very, very, very early when it first came out, but it was cool. There was yeah, I think you have up the bronze key hunt. We did some really fun, creative stuff with that. I think people saw that spark and that we were just really, passionate about what we were building. Um, and so in that time, we've been very much just heads down on building out the platform, the tech, the capabilities. It looks very different now. We've fostered a community that was long term and excited about what we are building, and we're in a great position. I think we can get into what happened in 2022 and 2023 when things were looking rough for Solana. But ultimately, we are very grateful and excited to be part of the Solana ecosystem where it's really emerging as, this amazing, the best, blockchain. And we're in a great position as one of like the top gaming platforms, products on Solana. We still absolutely have a very diehard community of holders that are supporting the platform, that are building on the platform. And yeah, over the last year, we really have started to kind of prove that we have all these pieces of the platform that are very unique, puts us in a great position as an organization. It's generating a ton of revenue. It's growing very quickly. And at this point, we're holding a lot of stuff back in terms of the big push that we're starting to do for like a true go to market. But yeah, that's kind of where we've gotten to at this point.
Nice. Yeah, I remember years ago, this is a video when just before the Portals NFT mint actually just went live. So this is 26th of November, 2021. It was a very hyped mint. It was very cool. It was very, very cool that it basically, from memory, as soon as you could mint, like you could actually already build or like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was maybe like right after we opened up the ability to build, and right away we saw tons of cool stuff happening, even with that very early version. Tons of people on it was like something like 40 or 50% of all of the Discord participants participated in building things in that very early version of the rooms, and people were making space stations and bars and all this super cool stuff. So we felt like, yeah, those core elements were already there.
I managed to mint a couple. My wife, who likes The Sims, she enjoyed building them. And then I even think I remember speaking to someone in the community, R2 Me Too, who said like because you could like give access to your portal, your house, your apartment to somebody else to build it for you, but they wouldn't. You don't have to transfer them the NFT or anything. I think they could just go in and they could design it how you. Then you could kind of remove access, which was pretty clever. So so that was 2021, maybe 2022. We had a very deep bear market, and then you kept on building. And so now you've kind of, well, I mean, probably always part of your plan, but I guess from my outside looking in, a bit of a pivot, but a good pivot to move more into this gaming, this kind of Roblox for Web3 kind of vibe.
Mhm.
So I guess there's so many different things to cover, but one thing is there was a recent like loot box drop, and I've got a couple loot boxes in this wallet. I was thinking, should I join? You can talk me through what the vision was there, and we could move on to the next stage. There's quite a few different elements in Portals itself with different collections. But it'd be cool to see what we can do right now, and also maybe if there are any creators that are building games. I think I saw a tweet quite recently. They're able to monetize their games very well, and so on. But I'm still missing a bit of information. So
Yeah.
should we dive in?
Yeah. So the loot box drop was something that we thought we find ourselves in a really fortunate position that we has the place where we can, it's a games factory. We can create really interesting, unique experiences and sort of cater them to whatever that audience is into. Seeing that, we've been building with the Solana communities since 2021. We thought this would be a really cool distribution experiment of like bringing Solana communities together, and let's drop just about everybody on Solana, all the cool communities that are out there, and bring them into portals, kind of show them what's new, let them open their loot boxes. And there were wearables in there. You could also get portals points. There's like a 50-50 chance whether you're getting points or wearables. And we thought that would be really fun. And it was a good experiment to activate that as kind of a channel, as like showing that, we could, through this mechanism, bring a bunch of people together, on Solana. So there were something like 20,000 individual people that jumped into Loot Park that first week or two. 100,000 total visits over that first week or two, which was cool when you look at, what's out there and kind of like what experiences, what consumer apps are bringing a bunch of people together in multiplayer. It's like there isn't a whole lot of that happening when these are like real folks that are just interested in opening their loot box, and everybody was hanging out during those weeks and trading items. There was a bunch of games in there as well. There was like 7 different games that you could play to get more Portals points. So it was that first version of activating the loot box drop that would bring a bunch of people into a shared Portal space. So there's a lot more of that on the way. And, next time we're doing it bigger and better and doing things where we're really kind of putting our best foot forward to show like, this is a just super cool experience from the get-go. We want to show people in the Solana communities that these games, these things that they're doing are really cool and accessible to the point where, you could imagine going to your non-crypto using friends and say like, join my team for this next one that we're doing. For a scavenger hunt, for an escape room type experience, and it'll be cool, right? And we definitely will tune the experience and tune things where it is done in the most interesting way to a non-crypto person, where it's easy to do, but they start to get that feel for what is cool about crypto and the interoperability and the ownership and all of that. So yeah, you can see how that can snowball from 20,000 people to 100,000 people, powered by the Solana community as sort of the core, right? So that's coming up pretty soon. I mentioned we're holding a lot of stuff back at the moment. It's part of the big true go-to-market push that we're doing. But yeah, we have a few dozen major things planned that will be rolling out as part of that, full go-to-market and full visibility stuff that we have, that we're gearing up for. But
I've just opened a couple of loot boxes, and is there like an expiry when they will no longer be openable?
there will be a point when the points no longer give you points, but they'll always have that 50-50 chance of opening a wearable. And then those are, I'm not sure if you heard about, we're working with Scum and the Slimes team. These were kind of early versions of an avatar that you've got in there, but we have new avatars. So all these wearables, if you get a Gecko sword or a Mad Lads jersey or anything in these loot boxes, they will also be compatible with the new kind of Scum design characters and avatars, which are looking awesome. So there's a whole kind of new look for Portals with new avatars, new starting point and kind of base game as you're jumping off point into the wider Portals universe. So there's lore and characters and quests and all this that we've been working with Scum and the Slimes team for like the last year. So we're keeping all the items that you get in Portals will transfer over to those new avatars.
This is my current avatar, and it's gonna improve. You can see my screen here.
Yeah.
So this is my current avatar, and it's gonna look something a little bit more cool. Or but
Yeah.
we done good teasers yet, or
we have a teaser. Let me see. So this is a little bit unfinished, but this is something that we were showing at Breakpoint, but we haven't shown publicly beyond that. But one of the areas of the new kind of starting home world area.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of the things that we will be teasing and jumping into with Scully December 10th. So that'll be fun.
Okay, cool. So, I'll add that to my daily videos. However, maybe this is going to come out after December 10th, depending on what we discuss, but I'll make sure this is known. So right now, we've got this here. I guess the actionable for people is just go to Portals or theportal.to and then connect your wallet, create a name, jump in, come over to the loot station and just start opening some loot boxes. You're highly likely going to have some, because you did How many did you airdrop? Are these are all CNFTs, I assume?
They are CNFTs. Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 800,000.
Okay. Uh, you can also buy these on Ten, so we can show that a little bit later.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, there's so many questions to get through here. Uh, uh, these credits, people should be running around trying to grab these credits. I imagine they give you points. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. They are that was one of the other currencies. Like one of the ways that if you look at Roblox, the way that most creators on Roblox will have like your off-chain, everything's off-chain in Roblox, that you kind of have your made up currency that any developer can create and implement. And then there's Robux, which is the official currency that's sort of the monetized currency that you have to pay real money for. So they'll implement both types of currencies. So we'll have elements of that with new version of the Portals ecosystem that we're rolling out. In this example, it's kind of a guiding currency. You see the items there that you can start to run up and grab, and it kind of guides the process a little bit. But there's other ways that you can purchase more credits in portals. So these systems will be undergoing some changes for the next version of things.
Okay, so you mentioned this is going to be like there's a similarity with Roblox where you've got one main portals currency credits, but then creators can create their own.
Yeah, we've actually started to see. So as I mentioned, it's like this games and experience engine that we can very quickly come up with new games and new mini games. Like there's Flappy Bird and there's new dungeons and there's new games that we can just build really, really quickly. So anybody that's familiar with the tools can, in a few days, in under a week, like create a really cool experience. So we've started to see people recently sort of take advantage of whatever the latest meta in the crypto world is, which might include like launching a pump fund token and making that a part of their, that being the currency for their portals mini game or game world that they plan to expand. So whether you're launching a meme coin, like there definitely is, if you look at portals as like an accessible Ready Player One type universe, you can imagine there's all kinds of different currencies that could exist in there as well. So yeah, we've made it where anybody can integrate whatever currency they want. So again, there will be parts of the new Portals ecosystem covered in the light paper that's upcoming that will go over how all that works. But yeah, that's definitely one of the things that we had kind of been kicking around as just like a fun side quest, like implementing a new token into a game. Somebody community, CPOs, an existing meme coin, and then builds a game around it and distributes that token to the people that are jumping in. So you can imagine that being something that is regularly occurring, right? If you want to get this early allocation for a token, you can jump in. So anyway, that was one of the things. There's a million different possibilities for what goes on here, and a lot of that expression of creativity and what people do with the platform also really hasn't. We're still on the starting line for that, because up till now, you've needed to purchase the NFTs to even build anything, and that is something that we've always known was kind of a temporary thing. Like if you're wanting, we do want this to be as accessible as possible where anybody can just jump in and start creating. So the new ecosystem, the points, everything that we're doing in the light paper kind of goes over how the new systems work. But yeah, that's something that we'll start to see that explosion of creativity once we take off that limiting factor, or just anybody can go in. We'll have tutorials and videos and everything that just makes it really easy to get started in creating your own world or game. So yeah.
Awesome. So right now, so someone jumps in, they open some loot boxes, they can go walk, grab some armor as an example, and then go do a couple of quests, all from within this section, or do they have to teleport somewhere else? Or
Yeah, so it should guide you through that. There's an NPC that you can talk to, and he'll say, go into this dungeon and finish grabbing your armor. And yeah, there were a handful of different games that you could go. So this was initially more part of that loot box event. And one thing that we have been doing for any of these rollouts is we understand that to do things for the crypto native audience, we're not really trying to do something where it's like, okay, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people in crypto grinding for something and all day, every day, logged in. Uh, we are doing things that are kind of event driven that fits in a little more with like your crypto user and the behaviors of people that are active in crypto, where it's like it's low time commitment, it's low friction, it's high novelty, and just this new, there's a regular set of things that you want to be paying attention to portals for and jumping into and participating in. Yeah, in terms of this particular event, it was built around that one event and the games there and the points that you could earn for playing those games was kind of geared up for that one thing. It still is worthwhile, checking it out, checking out the games, opening loot boxes, and doing all that just to kind of get your feet wet with an experience. But like I mentioned, there's a ton of new things that will be getting the word out. We'll be doing new loot box drops, that pull people into the next set of events and games.
So what you just said there. So we've missed a window to go and get some points or something. Like if we jump in now, we've missed
You
something.
still get the points. No, you still get the points, but it's more just in terms of like how it was a met experience where there were a ton of people around in the
Ah,
world, going through the games, competing for top prizes on the games or for the leaderboards on all these different games that are in there. And people were doing that. There was, thousands and thousands of people competing on the leaderboards to get those points. And yeah, so it was really fun. So there was always like 100 people in the space and they were trading our items and armor and all this and competing in the different games. So, but yeah, it was kind of that one 3 week, 4 week long event.
gotcha. And then so right now, someone can build a game, or that's like in a alpha or beta stage, or it's coming soon.
Yeah, so you definitely can. Um, right now, you do need to buy a portal NFT, either a collector, a strider, or operator. But those are, or you can jump into the portals Discord. We've been doing this for a while, where mm, we're getting people set up if they're interested in getting, in learning the ropes. There's a whole bunch of people in the community that will help people get set up. Yeah, that had been
Many games created thus far.
yeah, so there is that. We haven't pushed extremely hard on the distribution of the tool as like, here's a big user generated content push. So if you look at like Fortnite, for example, Fortnite has their base game that brought all the players, and they've actually introduced tools that make them more of like a Roblox competitor, where you can take the Fortnite game engine and in an easier way than building, a brand new game from scratch. You can make a game within Fortnite that has its own rules. And we're taking a similar route. So we are creating a lot of that first party game content to bring people in, and will over time, a smaller percentage of folks will become creators, right? So maybe 1, 2, 3% of people will start creating. So we haven't really pushed into that arena too much yet. It really has just been, um, we know that we have really amazing building tools. We've seen that the people that are using portals for building, they spend 10 plus hours a week building in portals for almost 3 years running, and they're just constantly creating new things. But yeah, that has
How
been gated for quite a while.
But can we see, like, can right now, can we join some of those games, or do you have to go to Discord to find access? Like, or is it
Yeah,
like a,
they're on the Discord. I can also drop a link if we want to put that in the notes to a bunch of creator built games and portals.
so at present, it's not like you kind of enter, I don't have like a perfect reference point of, I know Decentraland and Sand a little bit, or Sandbox, but, it's not like I can just kind of go off into say, let me bring spin back again, but like go over here and then, you know, in it, go through a portal and then they'll be like, all right, here's 5 games you can play. Like they're not integrated into the game like that yet.
So in that loot box experience, they are, but you're kind of doing one at a time. It's kind of guiding you to go from A to Z into the different games that are in there. But we didn't make like a grid of a bunch of games that you can jump into just yet. We have been wanting to control the experience a little bit more in terms of this is your onboarding, this is your one experience. So that new Portals homeworld starting planet is going to be that thing where you jump in and this is like there's quests and everything is guided and this is your introduction to Portals, and it's also your jumping off point into the wider universe, right, with like other specific areas that we would want to send people into.
That's coming soon, right? That's
Yeah, that is.
but no, like, is it? Can you don't have to say anything you can't say, but like, do you have like an expected kind of time when that? What do you even call that? It's a starting realm or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'll have its own name, and we'll do announcements on all of that. We're uh looking at, I mean, basically with a lot of this stuff, Blizzard Entertainment famously says, it'll be out when it's ready. We're hoping, in the next several months, we'll definitely have it ready to go as you're jumping off point. So kind of like Loot Park did a better job as like an introduction to Portals, like it's that to a next level, and the new Portals lore and characters and everything else as you're jumping off points.
Okay, cool. So I want to try and sum up a couple of key things that someone can do right now. So it's still, for the average crypto DGM with very little bandwidth. They're just chasing meme coins or in the trenches or whatever. They can still jump in. They should open some loot boxes, do a couple of quests. That's still a good thing to do, right? Just to experience the environment.
Yeah, it is. And then I would definitely say jump into the Discord, check out more links to a lot of the different worlds if you were interested in creating your own space. Because at this point, not sure how much you've seen, like the Foxes every week they do their voice chats, and they have a ton of games. They have a really super cool space in
So famous
Portals.
foxes.
Famous Foxes,
They have their own.
yeah.
Okay, so all right. Well, that's quite interesting. So
Let me pull that up.
if we go and buy a Portals NFT, I wanted to go through them because it's they've increased in the number of different collections now. But I have a couple of I guess Explorer NFTs. They were initially like the base model access card. Is that correct?
No. So I think if you had an ivory, those are collectors now, and I can pull up an image that we can show there that describes that. So I'm not sure if you've heard of the new explorers, which are the robots. It's the PFP that I'm using right now.
I remember
Um,
covering it. I didn't get any poor on soul back then, but I did cover it a few times. So
cool.
that are these ones.
Yeah, and essentially those got merged into the main collection. And in terms of points generation, resource generation, those are 10 times less than a collector, which were previously ivories. So I can run through that really quick. I'm not sure if you can see my screen if you want to pull
Oh,
that up.
yep, perfect.
So explorers, that used to be the new explorers, the robots. Collector used to be ivory, strider used to be onyx, and operator used to be vision.
I want to also
And
say one thing quickly. You did a mint for your Explorer at like one soul or something quite reasonable. Like, is that right?
yeah, yeah, I think the price went up as the process went forward. It was like 1.5. I think it went to 1.75.
I mean, it's just nice. It's nice that every now and then an NFT goes up in value. More and more demand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We wanted to do that in a way where we were getting them into as many uh, unique real holders' hands as possible, longer term folks. So it was really just done through various communities like Manlads and Foxes and Geckos and all those guys that wanted to jump in at a good entry point. And then we also were able to kind of get our talking points about the future of portals and how these are resource generators that basically like power the whole universe, power the economy. And so that has been the first stage of this transition of the transformation and the new universe and all of that. So when we first started everybody was doing land, and that was something that wasn't necessarily working. Okay, so these things, basically, we are going to move to a system where we just have a lot more flexibility. If these are generating resources and you do want visibility, you'll use some of those resources to get visibility. Like if you want a big billboard for the next, loot box drop where there's 100,000 people jumping in, you'll want to have resources. So
Okay,
that's
so
kind
I
of
so maybe I missed a little bit of that. So these they were initially like apartments, I guess apartments or
that's how they started. Yeah, yeah. And then as things evolved, they became like full like city blocks, and then they became fully unlimited spaces. If you wanted like a blank area, you can turn it into an island. All that's doable still, but we are moving away from the model of like you need to buy an NFT to use those tools. So this is just giving us a lot more flexibility and fits into the evolution of the platform for the next few years.
But if someone owns one of these, you said they could they can like own a space next to a portal drop and then like build a billboard that says, "Come buy my pumpkin spice latte meme coin."
Yeah, and we already do a little bit of that. So like this quick clip, I'm not sure if my screen is still up, but downtown area portals, again, there's a whole new universe, a whole new setup, but there will definitely still be elements of that where if like you own more power in the universe, essentially having more portals NFTs kind of gives you more visibility. And that's essentially how this is working here with Monkey DAO and all the other folks that have their visions, which are now operators. Like they'll still have a ton of power and visibility in the new portals universe. Um,
So can we see
as
that now, or is it like kind of briefly
Yeah, that's
closed?
still unreleased, but yeah, we'll be releasing a lot of it over the next few weeks and months.
All right, cool. So we've got operator was, sorry, vision, that was like very expensive at the time. So this generates a decent amount of points per day. There are none for sale on Tensor, I just checked. Strider's got a cool, and then you've got the Explorer and the Collector. So did you want to talk about points?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk really quickly just to about, I think generally speaking, the folks that have not been super involved in portals and not following the day-to-day news and the updates as things have evolved, I think it is pretty impressive. If you were calculating like a market cap on these and like what people are buying operators for and striders for, portals is actually like number 2, number 3 in terms of total market cap. If you are doing the market cap calculation based on the floor price of each of these different factions. So even though we've been pretty quiet, there's a very diehard community that has kind of just continued to accumulate, and build up their arsenal of portals NFTs over the years. So yeah, very, very grateful for that we do have this just like diehard community of supporters that have been building with us all this time. And yeah, they're really excited for kind of this next stage. But on points, we set that up. We started points out with the loot box drop where you're able to get points through to the loot boxes. And then those will be, transitioning over to something new.
We can still get some points. You said it hasn't closed
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
I can,
Yeah. So actually, as we transitioned from the old, so if you had an hybrid before and it's a collector now, when we did the transition over, we automatically staked them. So everybody's earning points right now for their portals NFTs as part of that transition. So you probably are earning points right now.
otherwise, if I buy one right now, I have to go and stake it manually.
Correct.
How do we do that?
So if you go to Portal's website, it should be there. Once you connect your wallet, you'll see a staking page. Staked NFTs, open staking terminal, and then you'll connect your wallet again. That'll be right on the Portal's website, and you'll log in.
So I'm at the portal.to, and I don't actually have Portal's NFT in this. So if I did, would I see something? Should I go and buy one here?
So you would see it under your account page. So if you go to the top right, and then if account, that is where you can get to the staking terminal. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So of course we're discussing nothing's financial advice as we look at these NFTs. I understand in terms of points, which we'll cover shortly. An Explorer is the lowest points. You get 10 more if you go with a collector. I don't have 14.
10x more. Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, 10x. I don't have a collector, so I'm just going to grab an explorer just now for the sake of this, so I can stake it because everything has to be staked. Is that right?
To earn points. Yeah.
And this will also allow me, certainly with my wallet, this will also allow me to build this space. One of these will allow me to build a space or not?
The explorers do not, but that is changing over the next few weeks. Like pretty soon, you'll be able to do that. In the meantime, if you were curious, if anybody is curious about building spaces, hop in the Discord, and there should be some resources there to get you started. So disconnected from the NFTs, hop in the Discord and or getting people set.
Cool. Let's see. All right. Open staking terminal. I'll connect here. And so I just take one of these and stake it. And then I don't have to do anything else for the time being, just stake it and I'm guessing if it's staked, you can't be moved from out of your wallet unless you unstake it or anything like that.
Correct.
And if I want to unstake it, it's just like an instant kind of unstake. And I earn these points. Amazing. Can you tell us anything about points?
Other than the points generation, there's not too much more we can say at this point in time, but since there will be a lot of news about them and the process, involving that next stage.
Gotcha. So right now, on my timeline, I'm seeing, people just kind of like sweeping them. I won't add any speculation, but they're sweeping them, they're staking them, they're accumulating points because, they're bullish on what you're creating. Maybe you've revealed something in a town hall meeting or something about the future, or added some like tidbits of alpha. Was there anything that you have already announced that is public that you want to announce now without revealing anything that hasn't already been announced?
Yeah. So, I think it's essentially one thing that we have been talking about is, there's a new light paper. We have been talking about just the changing regulatory environment in the US. We're a US-based company. The people that have, again, been following along with the news and the evolution of portals, the people that are diving into the industry as a whole, gaming in Web 2 and Web 3, and are seeing like just how well positioned we are, and they're looking at all the news and are hearing that, there's people that are generating millions in revenue using the portals platform and the tools and the distribution channels that are there. It's just very uniquely positioned, and it's kind of time for expansion. We focused on product market fit, distribution, before we did anything where we begin to decentralize, but we have started to talk about that, right?
Can I just ask something? You said there are creators that are earning millions in portals right now.
So there are, and like this has been something that we definitely have focused on more of like the gaming aspects, right? Because you could create a game and generate revenue with that game. That's like an internal team at Portals, for example, team of like 2 people, it's doing like 4 million a year in revenue just using the distribution channels that the platform has, and the ability to kind of reach an audience that the platform has. And that's before we've really pushed, but we do have a ton of partners, big Fortnite streamers. We haven't done our kind of Web 2 visible push yet. So there's just a ton of expansion that's ahead of us. The platform on its own should be generating, 20 million in revenue by next year.
That's that's kind of your cut.
Yeah. But there definitely are. So besides kind of like we're proving the model essentially and showing that other creators can create content. So like there are some of the Portals NFT holders, the Onyx, now Strider, that have brought in other projects, other clients. There's a million different use cases for Portals. There's actually like universities that are using it, museums. A lot of this is kind of kept out of the spotlight, just because we want to make, the messaging as clear as possible. Like the audience on the Solana side of things, it's a place where you can connect with other other people. You can collect Portals items. You can play games. It's always kind of this fun, wacky, games factory that you want to be paying attention to. And then there's definitely use cases outside of that. So there are people, like I mentioned, Onyx, Strider. They have projects that they're working on. Small team that is doing 1 million, 2 million in revenue from just very unique aspects of this platform that allow you to create experiences without meeting coders and then distributing them.
Like I need a bit of a visual. Can I find their Twitter or?
Oh, sorry. When I was talking about Strider and Onyx, that was kind of the previous card class was called Onyx.
Okay.
That up on my screen.
Okay. So
Yeah, but one example is essentially we've had a lot of different brands, Tomorrowland and Atari, and like one awesome thing is the people that are using portals, that are seeing the tools, that are seeing what's possible, they will often have contacts with companies that want to use the tech. So one of the perks of Strider and Operator, which were previously Onyx and Vision, is even the ability to white label the platform. And if you wanted to launch your own mobile app that has its own brand name on it, have a separate website that doesn't, mention portals, but it's like you do have that as one of the perks for Onyx and Onyx and Vision, now Strider and Opera. So we have I can send over a buyer's guide as well that covers some of those perks.
and so if someone has one of these now, a Strider, just checking because wealth of information here, they can go and start building right now. Like that's been open before and it's still open now.
Yep, that's correct. Okay.
And then you also mentioned like a Twitch streamer. A Twitch streamer could jump in and they could stream to Twitch, but then also I don't know, log into the portals verse, and then have everyone kind of jump into their room.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, for this build up, for this go to market, we have again people that are taking a look at just how powerful the tools are, how much revenue the platform is generating. It's like it does stand alone as a new gaming entity that is doing really impressive numbers, even crypto or otherwise. It's a new gaming company that's doing really well. So folks kind of in the crypto space, in the gaming world, are seeing this and saying like, yeah, we definitely want to get involved and help with the go to market. So we have some of like the biggest names in the industry that are working with us on this rollout. So there's that, and then there is more of one of the unique things about this is we've always built it to be very flexible, where even a Web 2 audience will find it interesting. So I'll give you an example of like whether it's an internally created game, the fact that you can create something for a particular audience. Like you can take portals and build a game that is designed to be streamed, like designed for 10,000 or 100,000 people to jump in and play with the streamer that's streaming it. So you can create a game. Let's say we've even taken elements of some of the more degen components that the crypto audience likes, but you can put all the crypto stuff behind the scenes for a Web 2 audience, but do something similar, like basically just do it in fiat. But let's say join this mini game tournament. So the streamer's streaming it. There's 10,000 people watching, 100,000 people watching. Join this mini tournament. It's like an unhinged game show. There's like elements of Fall Guys in it. And you pay $5 to play, and then the winner of the whole game show wins the money, wins $10,000 or whatever that is, right? But this is all facilitated through the platform. There really isn't anything else out there that allows you to do that allows you to kind of create that game in a week, distribute it to an audience, have 100,000 people jump in. So that's one example of like Web 2 distribution and why we've been getting a bunch of big streamers, in investing in the platform, and for this next stage, are really excited about that aspect of things. So we've definitely established distribution channels. So outside of Twitch, we have TikTok channels that go viral and all that to do all these Web 2 distribution tests. But yeah, that's been something that we've been doing over the last year and getting that out there. So most of what you see on the if you're in Solana on the crypto side of things is crypto audience focus stuff. So some of the games are play to mint. We encourage people, turn on notifications on the portal's Twitter if you don't want to miss things. There's also Discord. We are going to make things a little bit easier. Some Canyon mobile app, Telegram channel, just all the things that will make it as easy as possible so that you're not missing the stuff that's coming out. Like I mentioned, there could be like token launches, CTOs, and things like that, mini games that are jumping out. We just announced some of the other games that are coming out as portals, as like one of the platforms that, AI agents will live in. I know we're covering a lot of different topics. We actually did one of the first, as far as we know, the first game ever to come out that was utilizing AI agents. This was back in like April or May of 2023, where you can go in and solve a murder mystery in the city center of portals by talking to different AI agents and interrogating them and trying to get information out of them. But you could just have a, hour-long conversation with one if you wanted to, but they have items they can give you, and you need to just talk to everybody and try to like figure out the backstory. So we've always, we've been using AI since very early on in portals, and like now seeing the evolution and how quickly AI is moving. Like there's definitely a lot of things that we've been working on even over, the last 4 or 5 months to take that to the next level, where agents will live in portals and there's games that are geared around some of those features. But even just like from the creator standpoint, having a sandbox where you can drag and drop and create an agent and have it walk around and do things. We have, maybe half a dozen super interesting use cases that we're starting to, we'll start showing people that, again, things that weren't possible for, things that are actually like truly interesting and fun as far as agents in a virtual world. So yeah, getting a little off topic from the points and the cards and all that, but yeah, that was another thing that we've been talking about.
So you'll be able to, like me, with very limited, no technical skills, I'll be able to go into my collector and drag and drop an AI model, and then like prompt it in a certain way to, or have to chat GPT or download a GPT or something and train it. And then it, I can be like, all right, analyze the meme coin or talk to me about this. And they'll just be like drag and drop.
Yeah, even since May of last year, we've had that where you don't need to, and this is like that was the V1 of agents in portals, but you could drag and drop an NPC, right click it, give it a prompt, and it'll act like however you prompted it. So even with that, you're able to make games with that as well. So you could do something where it's like, give the player an item if they, say this word, for example.
Just right.
It just writes. That was V1. We do have agents that you can talk to, they talk back. We did show a little bit of this a few weeks ago where we teased that. We built in portals kind of just with those existing tools that are out there in like 24 hours. We added all that additional AI capability where you can talk to the AIs in a space, they talk back, they can transact with you. So we actually, as a proof of concept, made like a Shark Tank room. So you can go and pitch your crypto startup to the agents, and they'll debate, they'll go back and forth, they'll ask you questions. And then if they like your startup, they'll just wire directly to your wallet. So that was a proof of concept, like fun little thing that we did that we were able to do like in a 24-hour sprint. But that was done as sort of the precursor to these specific, really wild, interesting use cases that we're rolling out. So games, next generation of games that are using agents. And these are the sorts of things that we'll see, 10, 20, 50,000 people jumping in. And, you can imagine like Hunger Games with agents type stuff. So keeping an eye on that on the portal's Twitter. And when those are rolling out, will be, we encourage people to do that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Gomez. There's a lot to cover here. I'm going to do some more research so I can kind of break it down even further. I guess, so just as a bit of a recap, if someone wants to go grab an NFT, they can go to Tensor. If they're more keen on points, they can jump into Discord and speculate on points. We won't discuss that here. But if they want to, probably the collector's probably the best bang for buck, potentially. Otherwise, they can go and grab an Explorer. An Explorer will not allow you to create your own space, correct?
That's correct. But again, for anybody that's interested in creating their own space, I'd say just jump in the Discord and we'll get you. Not even needing the NFT is kind of the way forward we've been talking about.
And but the Explorer, like what, I don't think we really covered, what does it do? I mean,
Yeah,
it converts into a PFP?
it does. Yes. These are the scum PFP. So they're essentially soon that's also coming out. Mm,
So
amazing,
because you
amazing
had
character.
your PFP right now, right? This is an Explorer, is that right?
That that is an Explorer. That's like the new Explorer, the old version. Basically, all the Portals NFTs are turning into human character PFPs that will have robot companions. So if you had an Explorer, a new Explorer like this robot that I have right now, I'll still be able to bring that robot character out in the Portals world as like a companion. So same thing with this Explorer. That is going to become human. It has its own faction that it's a part of. But whatever robot was associated with that number before, you'll still be able to spawn that, and it'll be able to like follow you around. You can use it in different ways in Portals, but yeah, you still have the robots that are still going to be around.
Um, all right. Well, I think if there's anything else you'd like to give us, we'll take it. Otherwise, the actionable is join Discord, join Portals. I'll show you your Twitter as well. And you've mentioned it a couple of times, so it's notifications on with Portals. Wait for December 10th, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Join when you're playing Portals with Tolly, and you can sign up here to play with him and potentially get some prizes. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. And then Gomez, this is you, CEO, co-founder Portals. And then in some time when there's no push here for extra alpha, but sometime in the very near future, we're going to see a light paper, which is going to, I guess, give a bit of the roadmap and what you're working on, when you're expecting things to come out, and what the entire vision is after it's been completed, checked by legal, et cetera, et cetera. Is that a good kind of summary?
That is, yeah.
Perfect. Anything further to add, or any parting words of wisdom for people that want to learn more other than join Discord?
Yeah, I mean, definitely join Discord. We'll get you set up and can answer all questions. It is this wide ranging universe of games. So there's a whole, there's for a short tidbit, it is kind of often hard to encapsulate everything. But ultimately we're building a next gen Roblox, Fortnite type games universe. And if you're in crypto and you're following Portals, to be a part of that, to kind of power that universe, you'll want one of the NFTs. You'll want to pay attention to kind of what the light paper and all that lays it out. And if you're interested in creating a world, I mentioned, there's the foxes and geckos and mad lads and all the communities on Solana kind of using Portals as like a games and meeting space. But yeah, jump in the Discord and we'll get you set up if you're interested in building games. And we're now starting to ramp that up in terms of, this will be covered in the light paper, but grants for creating particular types of games where we'll support and distribute them and all this. So yeah, definitely keep your eyes peeled on the white paper.
Fantastic. Well, you don't tweet too regularly, so I will link, but of course, if you're going to follow our Twitter, it needs to be @_portals_. Yeah.
Yes, that is right.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much for your time, giving us all the alpha. And to end, Portals, follow them with notifications on, join the Discord. You can get an NFT if you're keen. Otherwise, if you want to build something, you don't need an NFT, just join the Discord and ask for some help. And that's it. We'll be waiting for the light paper. Thanks very much for your time.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks.